What's up, guys? It's Chris. Welcome to VHP Engines. So this is gonna be one of those videos where I'm gonna put out some tidbit of information, but the tidbits I have, I just don't think that they're worthy of a separate shot. I guess one of those things that if it needs to be revisited, I can come back and make its own video, but for right now, I'm not gonna. So you guys saw on Instagram, I went to the junkyard today, and when I got to the Honda rows, right, the second car in on the first row went in had CRV, and popped out the valve cover, and CRV had these rockers in them. So I was fucking excited. I was super pumped. So what I'm thinking is a possibility is that I had my heads mixed up, because when I got the rocker arm assembly, I assumed it was from my K20A, but there is a possibility that it wasn't off the K20A, that it was off the K24 I had. But that also being said, it was a K24A4, and so see, then I don't know. So, but anyway, so I got out the CRV. The CRV had a K24A1 in it and had these rocker arms. Now I had a K24A4, and I also had the P&L head off of the JDM K20A. So I really don't think it's so much as important as which engine it particularly comes off of, just the fact that it's this style. I mean, yeah, it's that way you know what car to hunt for, but for sure the CRV has them. And I scoured the yard for another CRV and couldn't find one, so that was apparently the only one there. Wow, so I guess CRVs just don't die. I found a bunch of older ones. They all had B20s in them still, surprisingly. But yeah, well, I guess it's not that much of a surprise considering the junkyard price is close to what the JDM import guys charge for them. So yeah, I guess it's not that big a surprise. But yeah, so my house is haunted. My computer just turned itself on for no reason. Whatever. So yeah, so I got this head, and instead of cutting the other ones, I just took them off and put these on here. So it's 100% no notch for this head. The only thing that was different between these rocker arms and the other ones is that the other rocker arms I had off the other head came with those super thin shims. And these come with a little fatter ones. They're not, I mean, the shim itself isn't fatter, but it's hollowed out and it has a lip on it. So, yeah, there's that. That's the difference. As far as the junkyard goes, I was going to make a video on that, but it's whatever. I guess I'll throw it in here real quick. And yes, I am going to talk about the Del Sol, because I know that's the title and all that. Just give me a minute. We're going to get there. Story time. So, yeah, I was looking at the junkyard. There's like a million K24s there. There's a million different Accords that are dead. A whole bunch of Acuras, like CLs and shit like that are just dead laying around with the J30s in them. So when it comes time for me to do my J swap, which I'm now leaning a lot more towards NA, it shouldn't be that difficult to do. Yeah, so instead of trying to hodgepodge together things for pistons and rods to or get custom rods or whatever, I think it'd probably be better for me to try and see what I can do with Honda OEM stuff to see if I can milk out 300 horsepower on pump. And at the most I would do was see about getting custom pistons and just using the stock rods for a high compression or a mildly high compression build. All right, so yeah, as far as these other ones, I did get 2 sets of rock arms today. I would have got a whole lot more if I had the money, but I'm working on a budget right now. I'm super broke. First day of work is tomorrow, but I think it's bi-weekly pay, so it's going to be a couple weeks before I see money, and it's going to be a couple of months before my life gets normal. I can start spending money again. But on the good note is that when I do get back to being able to spend money again, I think I'm going to be spending some more time at the junkyard, scouring some shit. I'll see what I can do there. I'm going to stick with the theme of not really trying to build engines to resell anymore. I'm not going to stock engines. Every time I build an engine from now on, I plan it's either going to be because one of you guys called me and asked me for it, or because I'm going to use it. So I haven't gotten around to completing my Facebook store yet just because of laziness, but I do plan on posting some more stuff up there. And I am back and forth dabbling still whether I want to post my bare block and cranks up there, my B20s and B18s. I don't think I'm gonna, because I'm not 100% sure you guys are gonna buy anyway, so I don't even think it's worth the time to make the fucking post. But with that being said, guys, I did two new things. I did officially launch my Patreon, which I will make a separate video about to explain the tiers, and I did make my Facebook store. So I said before not too long ago that I couldn't really find a justifiable reason to follow me on Facebook, but now I do, because those of you guys that want to know what I have to offer for sale that's already set and ready to go, it'll be there. There's only 2 things on my little shop list right now, but most of you guys that follow me already have an idea what I have from Instagram and shit like that, so it's not going to be a rush. I will be utilizing the fuck out of my Facebook shop, though, in the future. Once everything gets settled out and I can start organizing my shit properly, I will be posting a lot of stuff there. So if you're not already following on Facebook, go there. And if you're not following Instagram, go there and follow that. Facebook, so that way you can see what I have for sale, and then other shit I talk about there. And then Instagram, so that way you can see what I'm currently working on. As far as the guys that were asking about this is a chromed out valve cover. I'm not sure if they use chrome paint or not. I'm not, I've never really tried doing something like that. I'm not a big fan. I know some guys are. I'm not 100% sure if this is just like a polished head or a painted. I would have to deliberately scratch it to do that. It feels like paint. But anyway, the story behind it is there's a guy in Virginia who hit me up the other day, and he wants an engine build. He wants a stock rebuild. So I picked this up for him. I'm going to be doing a tear down and a valve seal replacement. And I'm probably going to be lapping the valves and polishing the valves as well. I'm probably underselling my fucking labor here because I quoted him $200 for labor, and I'm going to be doing a lot of work. And just from the other day, like these valves over here from the K20. So these are I cleaned these up real good the other day. Polished these up. You can't see it very well. Like these aren't perfect. These are still a little pitted, and I could have gone perfect, but this is like what? How many valves? 16, right? It's a lot of valves to try and get perfection out of it. The whole point for me, god damn it, now fucking focus is fucked up. The whole thing for me doing that valve polish was just mainly to get the carbon deposits off of it, and so I could, and I lap the valves. So the valve seats are cleaned up. Again, you can see it better on Instagram or whatnot. But yeah, so that head's done. The only thing that stops me from cutting these and putting these on the new head or the other head over there is because I'm still, like I said, I was going to debate on doing a mild port and polish. I didn't get to Harbor Freight in time to get the sanding rolls. Of course, I have my drill bits already, but they don't go very deep. I can't go in very deep in the head with them. And I'm going to use that for porting mainly, not really for the polishing part. I'm going to use that to open up a little bit and then finalize it. Now, I guess I could have went ahead and started the port work and then polished later, but just, I still have a decent amount of work on my plate, especially now with this added thing. But this head is as is going to be. I'm still trying to sell this. I finally posted on eBay for $100 more than I posted on Facebook. I'm seeing, the traffic it gets and see if it gets any interest in it. And then I might drop a little bit on eBay and see if I can get it to sell. I really would like this current K-Series setups that I have be like my main thing that I make money off of. I would like to do that. But if not, then I have a couple engine blocks that still need a head. And I've only got one extra VTEC killer head on the side right now that's healthy. So I have that head, and that head. And I still have 2 more K blocks to be the amount of head on. As far as this, I went out today and a friend of mine has a shop. The guy Alex I mentioned a bunch of times. Alex has a shop and he happened to have this guy laying around. So $15. I got the guide and it's all timed up now. I just need to do the valve lash and put the timing cover and the oil crank pulley and pan on. Now what I was debating on doing tonight was coming out here, putting the timing cover and the oil pan on, and then I haven't been bolting the heads on because, I don't want to RTV them and seal them up. I want to leave them where I can take the cover off, mainly because even though it's ugly paint, I don't want to scratch up my ugly paint, so I leave it loose. That way when I move these shits around, I don't have to leave the valve cover on to get fucked up. I can put a shitty valve cover on it, or I can just take it off and move it around like that, and I can put a towel on top of it so it doesn't get all fucking dirty and shit, right? So, yeah, there's that. So, but I was gonna like, oh, well, why don't you just go ahead and out tonight and go ahead and put the covers on? You can have the covers on and still have the valve cover off and do the valve lash, So, like, I don't have to leave it open, of course. But then I was like, you know what, Chris, just take a chill pill tonight, go to bed early. You told the guy you wanted to start on Monday so that way you can reset your clock, so make it a legit attempt to do that. My schedule as shifted back a couple hours. Instead of working at 2:30 to 11, I'm gonna be working 12 to 8 or 12 to 8:30 or some shit like that. So my schedule is gonna be changed up. Or my schedule is changed up. I have to be at work earlier, so that means I have to be awake earlier in the day if I want to do my regular workout routine and all that shit. But anyway, why this is important and crucial, why I went ahead and spent the damn money to get the valve guide, right? Or the chain guide, is because this ties in with the Del Sol. But real quick, before we get to that point, I wanted to mention something today that's been one of my big, huge breakthroughs and successes, and firmly cements that I thoroughly enjoy the timing process for K Series more than B Series. These timing tensioners have been a literal pain in my fucking fingers. You can kind of see discoloration right there. Right there. That's a healing cut from where I sliced my fucking finger open. And the other one, I guess, is already healed up on my fingertips there. I don't know how it's blurry, but I got see cuts there from where I was using a pry bar to pry the shit out of the last engine, so that way I could get the guide up in far enough, so that way I could force the goddamn timing tensioner in place. You see, once you release the timing tensioner, you have this safety thing right there, right? This shit that goes into those grooves and prevents the timing tensioner from being pushed back into the main part of the body. Now, when you get the tensioner new, the head is only pushing out like yay far. But after you've already released it, about where it's at right now is as far as you can depress that thing because this will catch it and stop it from going in any further. So I was like, well, there's got to be a better way for me to be able to reuse tensioners. I know people are doing them, and if it's this much effort, I couldn't see how people would be regularly reusing them because it's not worth the bullshit hassle that you go through. I've literally spent like an hour or so struggling with the last tensioner before this one, before I found a way to rig the guides together so, tight enough where I could get it in there. So I was looking at the tensioner today, and I can see this bar, where this is the latch that holds the tensioner in place, and it comes with a pin or some shit in there that you pull out. Once you mount the tensioner, you pull it out, and it releases it, and it goes forward, right? So I'm playing with it. I'm playing with the mechanism, and I'm looking at this shit right here. I'm like, this thing is what holds it back. And if you look on the inside of the timing tensioner, you can see where the bar goes all the way through. And I was looking for something small that I could like wedge in there, and I was going to try and fucking tap that out and then push it back in and then reassemble it and then put the pin in there. That was the idea. But in the process of just holding it in my hands and then playing with it and like a fucking Rubik's Cube and playing it back and forth, I kind of like stumbled onto a secret. I just for shits and giggles, I guess, like I said, flipping around my hands, pushing buttons and playing with it. I pushed down on this hold tab right there. I pushed down on it to pull it back, pried it back. And when I pried it back, I started pushing on the bar, the tensioner bar itself. And at first nothing happened, and I kind of like squeezed harder, and then I squeezed it in harder. And when I did, that motherfucker sank all the way in, almost to the base. It sank all the way in back to the place where it was reset, like it came when it was new. And I was like, holy fucking shit. Now at first, this bar right here, the safety catch, wasn't where it needed to be. And of course, I needed to be there if I was going to be able to do this with one hand, because you still got to hold the guide in place while you're getting a tensioner. So I needed something. So I kind of played with it a little bit, and I was able to get this tab back to the hole while it was depressed. And then I put an Allen key in there that was really narrow. It was a tiny Allen key. And then once that was in place, I kind of, I had something to hold the guides together. And then I just mounted it on there with zero effort and released it, and then there, boom, it's fucking tightened up. So I was super happy about that. Anyway, so now we're going to get to the Del Sol topic right here. I guess I will have left the link in the description so you can skip forward or whatnot. So I had talked to a guy a couple months ago, and I know it has to be at least a couple months, maybe even further back, because I think that the last time he hit me up was when I had the Vitara block for sale, and I know that the last time I actively tried to sell that on Facebook was quite some time ago. Now, I might be wrong, but I know it's been a good amount of time since the last time I talked to this guy, right? So we talked for a while, and I was trying, my best to come up with a deal that could be affordable for him, but me not take a huge L on the block. And we finally hashed it out, and when we made, it came to like a set, like this is what the price is gonna be. He was like, I got medical bills popped up. I can't buy right now. And I was like, okay, fine. Now, initially it's kind of a little bit aggravating because, when I said, like, a lot of times you deal with people, you try your best to come up for the deal for them that's affordable, and then when you come up with a deal, they still take off. But at the end of the day, what can I do? I wasn't mad about it. It was aggravating because of the time spent. But it was like, whatever, no big deal. And he's like, oh, well, I'll come back and hit you up when I have the money again or whatnot. And I was like, yeah, sure you will. No big deal. Though, whatever. Forgot about it. So time goes by. Like I said, I don't remember how much time. But dude hits me up again the other day, like, out of the blue. He's like, hey, my bills are paid. I got money again. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, cool. Now, I don't delete messages on Facebook or Instagram, all social media in general, because I want to know the people I deal with, and I want to be able to have a conversation in my messages that reminds me of somebody, or reminds me who you are. Now, even the other day, I bought these knuckles off of somebody, right? The last time I spoke to him on Facebook was in 2015. The messages were still there. And of course, he recognized me. He knew who the fuck I was. Like, he remember, we were actually friends on Facebook for a long time. I did eventually delete him because we don't speak. So if I don't interact with you very much and you do throw me and we're on Facebook, I tend to delete people every once in a while, right? So anyway, get back to Del Sol story, right? And so he hits me up and he talks about he wants to do a deal again. He's still curious about the Vitara. Of course, we kind of have to reset the conversation because I don't know what his goals are. Maybe his plans have changed. My plans change all the time. So I'm like, well, what are you looking for? What do you want to do? What's your power goals? And he sends me a picture of 3 cars. He has an EK Coupe, a EG Hatch, it's a rolling shell, and a Del Sol. So I'm like, oh my God, that's Del Sol. And he was like, well, you're the only person that's actually giving the Del Sol any love. Everybody else kind of talks shit about it and makes fun of me for it. Now, I'm like, well, I love the Del Sol. Mine was shittier, and I didn't want to get rid of it. I was forced to by circumstance. So I would very much like to have another Del Sol. What's up with the Del Sol? He's like, well, I pretty much only bought the Del Sol for the engine. It's got a Z6 in it. He's like, I really don't care too much about the car. I really want my EK to run and all that shit. The EK runs and drives, but of course that's the car that he wants to modify. And I was like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Because I'm literally willing to slave myself out for this car. Because of course I ain't got no money to spend on it. It's like, if you want me to buy it, it's going to be a minute. If you want to work out like trades plus labor or whatever, let's figure out how we're going to do this and how the condition you want to give me the car, whether it's running, whether it's a shell, and figure out what's up. So there was a couple issues with the car, but not big ones. Like the windows don't roll up, so of course the rain we get down here would destroy that car. The Del Sol's garage kept right now, but that's not a big deal. If I can't figure out how to fix it right away, I would just take the door panels off, get the windows in place, and leave it like that until I can get time to get back to it. And then there's dents and shit all around the car, and the body's not in the street's condition. But again, I don't really care about that. If I do keep this car, the eventual idea would be to sand it down, do a Rust-Oleum paint job on it with a spray gun I have, and call it a day. So I could Bondo up the little bit of dents that are unfixable. And then, like, as far as like fenders and the hood and the bumper and shit go, I could just replace that. Like, I would upgrade the bumper to the no fog light one anyway, and then the fenders I would imagine I can get it for like $40 a piece. So definitely I'll probably do that. Make the body as straight as possible again, and the idea would be to paint it black. So it's like, oh, okay, so do you want to take the swap out and keep the engine, or do you want to give it, if you give it to me as a shell, I'll trade you the single cam straight up. If you want to give me as a car, what I can do is give you the single cam, and I can build some shit for you for free. I'll do some free labor jobs, right? Like, so, we were talking back and forth for a good while because I did drive like an hour and a half to go see the fucking car. So I was like, well, here's this. What we can do is I'll give you the single cam, and then he's like, oh, I want somebody to swap it in. Could you possibly swap in the single cam for me? I was like, well, I can't do it right now. I'm about to move, and the place I'm going has 1 million cars already. I can't bring another car down to do the swap there. So he's like, all right, well, when you move, then we can do it like that. So I'm like, okay, fine. The car sits here. Don't sell it, I guess. And then 2 or 3 months when I move into a place, I can get the car and we can do the swap. And I was like, in the meantime, I'll start work on the single cam. So here's what my greedy ass mind came up with. I'm like, well, if I already had a fucking Y8 head, because I was, this is the Y8 head down here that I went and got. I was like, if I had another Y8 head, I would just fucking use my head studs I have that are brand new set, they're ARPs, and slap it all motherfucking on there. And once the long block's complete, then it can be swapped in, right? So that's what I'm thinking. Then I'm like, well, where can we do the swap? So I'm like, well, here's the case. Like I said, the Del Sol's in the garage, but we could always roll a Del Sol out, bring the coupe in, and do the swap there. So I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this fucking thing off, and then the single cam goes on here. I'm gonna do a once over on the single cam. Now, I guess I'll film that. I'll just record that or whatnot. But I want to open it back up all the way for reasons I'll explain in that video when the time comes. But I was like, well, I'll go ahead and put the single cam together. I was like, told dude, like, hey, get a clutch, and then I can do this swap like with the quickness. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drive up there early one day. We'll get the car in the garage, and I'm gonna do the swap, and I'm gonna try and get there as early as I can, and I'm gonna steady on it, throughout the day. Now, there's a good chance that it's gonna run me like 8 to 9 hours to do this fucking thing properly, if not longer. So I figured I'll stay there the whole day to work on the swap. If I don't have it finished by that night, I'm gonna get a motel in the area, save me an hour and a half drive. The money I'm gonna spend on multiple trips back and forth, and the time I'm gonna spend on for gas and all that shit, I might as well just stay at like a $60 fucking hotel room. So that's what I figured. I talked to my wife. My wife's like, okay, I'm coming. So we'll make it like a thing, I guess my wife can just figure out some shit to do in the area while I'm up there doing the work, so she can run around with the kids or whatnot, and I'll do the work, and then we'll stay together that night. But I would imagine it would take no longer than just the weekend to pull the engine and put the new one back in. And as far as the turbo kit and stuff comes like that, well, you don't need expertise for that. Anybody can do that or whatnot. And then like same thing with the manifolds, that can be bolted on after the fact, not that big a deal. The idea would be just to get the swap. But then again, I don't fucking know. Like, oh no, he's got another car that he's driving. He does have another car that's parked out front. So he doesn't need the EK coupe. I'm going to say, like, the whole thing is get the swap in the car and get it turned on, right? I guess depending on whether he has an intake manifold or not. But, I guess, we're keeping regular communication and whatnot. It turns out that he actually has a white head up there that's been ported. So, there's a little bit of cam rocker damage or whatnot, so I'm going to go up there when the time comes and check it out. Hopefully we can fix that up, or if not, maybe I guess to expedite that a little bit, he can take a look at it, see if he can fix it up, fix the pitting up or whatnot. But yeah, so I would like that to be done quick. That could be done within a matter of weeks. I guess it just depends on, like, I want to put the single cam back on the stand because I'm working again now. It probably won't be until next weekend that it's 100%, that I feel the block is 100% ready to go. And then it's just like when he gets the clutch. To do that swap. But I guess I'll have to hash out those details with him. But, and then it still comes with the whole thing with the Del Sol. I would imagine, I guess, that I'm still not ready to take it right away. I don't know, maybe. I'm going to get the car running. It also has AC, which is extremely cool. Oh, I guess, the other flaw I didn't mention about the fucking the Del Sol is automatic. And I guess we can talk about the plans for the automatic, not just me getting it, or getting the plans for the Del Sol. So, I was planning on throwing this engine in whatever car I was going to buy next and, possibly trading or selling it, but after I actually used it for a while. But now I'm going to get Del Sol. Del Sol is one of those cars that I don't want to trade. So, the engine I just finished the other day, which is the big bore K20, the 88 millimeter block K20 or bore with the RBB head on it. That was originally planned for the RSX at some point in time, but now that I have the Del Sol, which is a car that I'm definitely 100% going to keep, the idea is to put that engine in instead. It'll make more power than this with less effort. I still want to use this, so I guess I'm still on the market for a shell, I guess, but I'm just not going to push to find a shell right now because if I do get the Del Sol, that's just going to be way too many cars I'm going to own, and I want to keep them all. Right now I have the CHR, the RSX, and the Integra. And as you can see here, the knuckles there, I didn't get around the time to get the Integra done today because the junkyard and all that stuff, and then losing daylight at 5 o'clock. But I would imagine that's something for sure going to be done next weekend because the single cam I have to do and this head isn't the most pressing. This isn't going to really take too much time, and I can do it at night, so I don't need to worry about daylight to do that job. So yeah, so the idea is to get the Del Sol and K-swap it, which is why I don't mind the fact that it's automatic, because I'm going to be cutting out the mount brackets for it anyway. And it takes, the pedal assembly and the clutch master cylinder would be EG stuff to swap in. I don't imagine that the job will take me that much effort to do. Yeah, so I guess that's just an update on that right now. Now, I know that I don't have the Del Sol in my hands right now, and usually I don't like to talk about things like that until I actually have it on lock. But I feel pretty confident about this whole situation because of the fact that he hit me up some time after last time we spoke. You know, I didn't expect to ever hear from this guy again, and I did. So the fact that this much time has went back from the first time he spoke to me to the second time, I think that I can count on this deal working out. Also, for the, you know, I was like, I'll give you the long block, and I'll give you, you know, I'll give you my, you know, the Vitara short block, my head studs, and I'll give you my labor to put the head on and put it in the car. And I'm also feeling, you know, something about that EG hatch. So I figure maybe I can even, you know, turn that into a race car for him. We can put one of my K long blocks in there because I'm gonna have a lot of them. Yeah, or maybe I could even talk to him about buying it and turn it into a race car myself. You know, I don't like to strip out cars or whatnot, but who knows? Maybe in a couple of months, if you know, once he's got the EK running up, and maybe he just won't care to, you know, do it again or whatnot. Or anyway, I don't know. It's just some ideas that are running through my fucking head. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to kind of give an update on that and share a little bit of nuggets with the that VTEC rocker arm assembly and my shop, Facebook shop, and this fucking this long block and everything, what's going on. And I guess I will be talking about it again soon. A lot of you guys are telling me, you know, launch the Patreon, bro, Patreon, and then like nobody's done the Patreon thing. But anyway, it'd be cool. The way I figured it is there are some perks to it. Like I said, I will explain it in a separate video. But I figured, shit, man, even if I have like 10 people fucking donating on the regular, man, it's potentially gonna, you know, even if it's like $10 a month, you know, that's something to say, right? Because the YouTube itself, I get paid like a quarter a year at most. Like I think I've only got paid from YouTube twice this year, and it's like $120, $130. So Patreon. If I ever get to the point where I'm making $100 a month off Patreon, then I'm getting paid from Patreon more than I am from YouTube, and that'd be fucking cool. And eventually I will have merch and shit, and I'll have giveaways, so I'll have other incentives for the people to be there, because there are some already. Yeah, and I guess, like I said, I'll talk about that in a separate video. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and peace.